So let's continue. Now we need to work on the responsiveness. We need to make this page, the account page, to be responsive, just so that it can be easily accessed on smaller devices. So as you can see, it doesn't seem right and we need to fix this. So I will be going through the entire thing. Now within the account component, we are wrapping the entire thing inside of a box, within which we have a grid container, within which we have a grid item which is taking 8 columns on the axis, just so that we're constraining the content to be in the center. As there are 12 columns, we are setting it to be of 8, which lifts around 4 columns, and we are aligning this grid item to be in the center as what we have in the normal view. As you can see, the content is in the center with certain constraint. So what we need to do is, on smaller devices, we do not want to impose any sort of constraints. We want it to take the entire available space, and for that we can set it to be of 12 on the axis, and on the small we can set it to be of 8, which is one level above the small breakpoint is one level above the axis. So if we do that, we will be seeing the same thing on larger devices, or to say the devices above the axis, but there should be no constraint on the smaller devices. As you can see, it's starting from the very edge. That's perfect. Now we need to add some spacing because it's kind of looking a bit cluttered, and in order to add the spacing, we are actually wrapping the entire thing, like the grid container itself, inside of a box which has the margin to the top. So what we can do is we can add in some padding on all the sides by just keeping it as p, and this time we will be passing in an object. So because we want to specify the value, the padding, based upon the breakpoint. So over here we will be specifying the XS breakpoint, the smallest one, to which we want to add 2 padding, which means 8 into 2, 16 pixels. And on the small and all of the above, we want to set it back to be of 0. We don't want any padding. So if we do that, and if we take a look, well, that's looking perfect. Great. And I think we can reduce the margin a little bit. Let's do that, for which we will be following the same thing. We will be passing in an object, and we want to use the same value, which is 5 on the small and all of the above. However, on the axis we want to set it to be about 3. If we do that, let's see, and I think that's looking much better. As you can see, perfect. Now the other thing is, although the links that we have currently, they are looking fine because the text is not that lengthy. So we did impose certain restrictions. We added the validations inside the shorten URL module, that the name of the link cannot be less than 3 and cannot be more than 15. So if we try to add something like more than 15, we will be getting this warning. However, if it's up to like 15, it's going to work perfectly fine. So we have the restriction for the name, and we don't want to add the same restrictions for the URL, because the URL can be like, we don't want to add any check that it cannot be longer than so and so characters, because that doesn't make sense. The name, it can be n number of characters, and like it's kind of obvious that's the name of the field. It's going to be a long URL, and that's what we are kind of solving the issue. So for instance, if it is kind of like a lengthy URL, let me just copy the same thing a couple of times, and if I create a link, as you can see, it kind of breaks the layout. Although it may look fine on the larger view, but still it kind of looks ugly. We don't really have to show the entire URL. And in order to fix this, what we can do is, let me just use the dev tool So, well, 1 second, let me actually check the structure. This is the box, this is the one on the left, and this is the one on the right. And actually we don't need to wrap it inside of a box. The content on the right side, we are kind of wrapping it inside of an extra box which is not required. So I just removed this thing. So this is the content on the left side, which will be containing this thing, like this entire thing that we have over here, this thing. So we can set the width of it to be about 50%. If we do, it's a second. Okay, so this is the main box, the box within which we have the left one and the right one. So this one should be 50%, and in order to hide the text which is going outside, which will be the case only on the long URL. So let's tap that thing, this paragraph tag, and if we set the overflow to be of hidden and the text overflow of ellipses, is going to add the dots as such, which kind of looks nice. And I think this is how we can kind of approach this as well. And for the content on the right side, we can hide this text, the total clicks, just to make it a bit clean. So let's do that. Over here on the link card, this is the content on the left side. So we will be setting the width of it to be 50%, and on the typography for the long URL, we can use inline styling in such a way, and we want to set the overflow to be of hidden and the text overflow to be of ellipses, for which I kind of need to check the spelling. Okay, as such. So if we do that, let's just refresh. So that's perfect. Now we need to hide this total clicks only on the axis. So for that, we can make use of the hidden component from the material UI library, and we just need to wrap the typography which is for the total clicks that we have over here. So on the hidden, we can pass in the only, as we just want to hide it only on the axis. So let's pass in the same thing. If we do that, and that's looking beautiful. Perfect. That's actually looking nice. Everything seems to work fine. So I think that's it for the responsiveness. We did fix it for the home page, looking nice as well. Perfect. So yeah, this completes the application, and now we have to work on the deployment as well as the security rules, which are kind of important and interesting. So yeah, let's do that.